Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Midnight Horror Picture Show. If you're listening to this on the day it releases, happy Friday the 13th. If you're not, happy whatever day it is. So I recently got a package from today's guest, Justin Sulham, because his debut feature, the horror comedy film Big Bad Betty, is only available on physical media for its release. We discuss what led to that decision and so much more, but first, Justin grew up in the greater Boston area. He's currently based in Nashville, Tennessee. He's worked in the camera and electrical department on some huge projects, such as Severance, The Holdovers, and Dexter New Blood, to name a few. He's made a name for himself directing music videos, including directing a video for the song Take Me Home by Dexter himself, Michael C. Hall, and his band Princess Goes. With his experience, determination, and passion for both the horror genre and filmmaking, I truly believe Justin is a director to watch closely over the next few years. All right, so Justin, welcome to the Midnight Horror Picture Show. We're stoked to have you here. I can't wait to share some of your insights with our listeners. Can you start by giving us just a background of what you've done? I mean, you've done so much between, your personal work. You have a crazy IMDb page. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that?
Sure. First, thanks for having me, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I think my career has been very lucky. I'm based in Nashville, Tennessee now. So here I work more in the freelance world, corporate music videos, things of that nature, short form narrative content. Unfortunately, it's especially with all the labels, right? It's a lot of content
Oh,
for
yeah.
artists. Yeah. And there's occasionally there's some union work. And so because I'm IATI 492, when I work on a union set, I work in set lighting. So either some form of set lighting or camera support, whether it be dolly grip or key grip, gaffer, set lighting technician. Honestly, at the end of the day, I'm just happy to be there. The union side of things, I work in set lighting, freelance. I'm kind of all over the place. I own a grip and electric package. I own 2 camera packages, and I can, edit. So I do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, man. No, a one-man band is what it seems like. And I know on your Instagram page you have a whole video of your G&E van you built out, and that looks incredible.
So I had built it when I bought the van. I'm not going to give you the long version, but it takes a while to figure out what the right workflow is with it because it's a good sized van, but it's a van. It's not a truck. So you don't have any space to kill, right? You
Right.
don't have, you have to kind of get it right. And so all that being said, I worked out of it as it was built for about a year. I don't remember which video is on Instagram, if it's the one with the black colored wood or the natural colored wood, but I recently did a huge overhaul of it, and I had to move one of the pieces that I had built in for all of my C stands and combo stands, and it was 3 pieces of plywood to build it, like that one unit,
Hmm.
and I had to pick it up and put it in. Now, like 3 pieces of plywood would suck to pick up in general,
Yeah.
but especially when it's built out to be like 62 inches long, 44 inches tall, and like 28 inches wide. There was no right way to. So my neighbors had a field day watching me try to fight this thing into the side door of the van.
So, okay. So, first off, when did you relocate to Nashville?
Well, so I had gotten into the business. I'm from Boston, born and raised, but I had gotten in the business as a hobbyist up there, right? I've been in it since I was a kid, and I'm excited to we can talk about it in a little bit. You know nothing about this because I haven't put it on social media, but when you think the time is right in the chat, remind me to talk about going back to my high school to
Okay.
because that's coming. Um, so I've been in it forever, right? But it took coming to Nashville in 2015 to be able to do it professionally, and so that was the start of, and I have just been in since working in it professionally. But in 2020, yeah, 2020, um, with the pandemic, we relocated back up north to Boston from here. So when we, met, I would have probably been at that point of living there, right? 2 years ago, relocated back. Just over 2 years ago, relocated back.
Okay. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense because I believe the first time you and I met was at the 2022 Happenstance Horror Fest,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
It
that
would have
was
been that. Yeah.
yeah, and that was you were there with your short Black Vulture, which
I don't, maybe.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. All right, well,
That's one of them.
that's one of
It's
them.
it's one of them. It's on my wall. It's on my wall over there.
There you go.
One of
There you
them.
go.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
So that right there is that's Big Bad Betty too.
Oh man. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna get into that. And listeners, yeah.
I'm very clearly a horror. You know, I love this stuff.
Dude, I love that your office
I'm a
is decked
I'm a
out,
child.
man.
Oh, I have a video game console. You know, arcade. And it just keeps going. Look at this, the Gremlin. I have. You know, I do. I've loved. We're not. I don't want to sidetrack this, man, but I've loved horror since I was like 7.
Yeah.
Well, my very first memory of any horror, of any movie in general, actually, but it was horror. Probably remember it because it was traumatizing. Was when Loomis sets the hallway on fire in Halloween 2 at the hospital. Right, the whole.
Mhm.
That's my first memory of a movie. Lifelong fan. I've never felt dirty about it. What I mean by that is, you know how a lot of horror fans in certain social circles, right? It almost is like maybe less now, of course, because horror has become so mainstream. But for a long time, I'm 44. When I was in my 20s, it was almost like taboo to
Right.
love horror, which is strange because horror has been around forever. You know, the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is what, like 1908 or something. Like,
Right.
it wasn't horror, but it was suspense thriller. Like, it's been around forever. You know, it's been around since before I was born. It's going to be around long after I'm gone. And but there was a time when I would be around coworkers and I would talk about like, oh yeah, did you guys see? I've never been big into like Saw. I'm not big into body horror, but which is ironic because I have some body horror in Betty. But you know, even like The Exorcist, which is a perfect film, you know, bringing it up. And
Yeah.
that's when you find out who the people that are, you know, religious fanatics, right? They take offense. And it's funny because a good friend of mine's a youth pastor, and one of his favorite movies is The Exorcist.
Really?
It's good overcoming evil. He loves it.
That's fair. I mean, there's
His two of his favorite movies, and I love this about him. He's a real grounded guy. He's a real dude. The Exorcist and Knock at the Cabin Door, which is the apocalypse.
it is.
You know, it's
Yeah.
very biblical, right?
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. I genuinely love the genre, and it's, you know, my wife can't stand it. Well, she enjoys the movies, but she can't stand talking about it, right? I have no one to talk about it with. So when I'm on podcasts like this, it gives me an opportunity to just talk about the things I love with people that get it,
Oh, 100%.
you
100%. Yeah,
know?
no, it's the community aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I believe that's like such a big part of like anyone liking horror, like any horror fan does not exist in a vacuum. You know, it's what brought you to the genre and then it's the ability to discuss it with other fans. I mean, that's why horror conventions are so big and when it comes to like short film festivals, I feel like horror film festivals do on a smaller scale, right? Like we're not talking the Sundances and the, you know, whatever, but on the like smaller local film festival level, you're going to sell out a horror film festival way before you're going to sell out a drama festival or just a regular, you know, because people see horror and if you're a fan, you're like, oh, and I think that speaks to just the genre as a whole, right? Because
Yeah.
I've had people make the argument that there's no bad horror films, which you can. I see the argument for it, right? Because a lot of times even a bad horror film is fun.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, you know, and I'm sure that you're going to have a dozen, you know, listeners that are going to correct me. So I'll preface it by saying I've done no research for the following statement. Okay, I don't know of any action film festivals. I don't know of any comedy film festivals. I'd be totally into it if there were. I love comedy. That's my long term goal with filmmaking is comedy, and I incorporate comedy in my movies, right in my horror, but especially with Big Bad Betty. But you have hundreds. I mean, dare I say, 1,000 horror festivals nationwide, right? And it's an international thing. Horror is huge, obviously Italy and so name a stronger community of genre loving, film, patrons of the arts than horror. You're not going to
Right.
find it. Porn, I guess, right? I mean, that has a huge following.
I'm sure
Well, it's
it's
funny.
got.
Well, it does, right? They have their AVN awards. They've got big award, like
Yeah.
so. But that, and again, it's another thing that's like taboo, right?
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
and maybe that's what the community is, as a whole. Maybe we all feel like we're in a safe space, right? Or maybe we feel like we have just kind of found our tribe, right? We found our people. Like I have no problem admitting, I hate to say it out loud, but it's reality. I forever feel like in social situations, I feel like Dexter, right? I do. Like I laugh at jokes, but I don't really understand them. Like I don't understand the way normal people are. It's my brain just doesn't work that way. I'm not into sports. I'm not into TV. I hate streaming, right? I I'm just super I'm old school. I'm particular with the things that I like. And I'm not like a curmudgeon. I'll never trash on anything. If someone wants to talk to me about their favorite sports team, I'll listen to them because I love when people are passionate about something. I just feel like Dexter, right? Like I had nothing to say back,
Right.
you
Right.
know? And it sucks. And so in person, it makes a lot of like what we're doing here, this open line of dialogue. People don't get this with me outside of here, especially at like the gym or somewhere. I can't hang. Like I don't know enough to hang.
I think for a lot of horror fans, I would assume there's a lot of similar stories, right? Where it's, hey, there's a lot of in column A that's like a more mainstream where like I can't talk to you about sports. Can I talk to you about John Carpenter films? 4 hours, like
Let's go.
right,
No.
exactly. Exactly. And it's just it's finding that community that you're able to have these conversations with and, diving in because I love what you said about, you know, I like listening to people who are passionate about something, right?
Yeah.
Passion makes whatever you're talking about more interesting, So yeah, I'll listen to someone talk about their obsession or, like something they've rabbit holed on that they're really excited to talk about because it's exciting to listen to. And I
Yeah.
think I think that relays, especially as a filmmaker, like so much through the work you create, right? If you're making something, you better be passionate about it. And, when you're passionate about it, it shows in your work.
I mean, passion. I remember. Are we allowed to swear on this show?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I'm going to do my best not to. As a whole, in general, I'm just trying to be better about it for no reason
Sure.
other than just to be better about it. Well, I'm always looking for some form of self improvement, right? And I think I could clean up my language. But uh, Ultimate Warrior, rest in peace. He had a phrase. He said, "My passion is fucking passion," and I love that, right? Because it is. I have no interest. I grew up in Boston. Right? I grew up in Foxborough. Okay, so like I'm in the hub of it, and it's shoved down our throats. And I fucking just can't stand sports anymore because of it, right? But if
Right.
you love the Patriots or if you love tennis or something that I don't understand and I can feel it, like I can see your body language is like it's opening up. You're talking with your hands a little more and like then you start to get on like I don't care what you're saying as far as the content goes. I care about what you're saying as far as the context goes, how you're feeling getting it out from inside out. Because I know what it feels like as a filmmaker, right? To get the things that are in here out. Sometimes people just want to talk. Sometimes they just want to be heard. I love the phrase. It's a thing teachers say to the students. Do you want to be heard? Do you want to be hugged? Or do you want to be helped? Right? That's what it is. And so if someone's up and they're just talking to me and talking about like some sports, they just want to be heard.
Right.
Cool. I'm going to listen, right? I'm going to listen. And I'm going to be excited for you to be so excited about something in the process. And I'm sorry if you think that it's a one-way conversation. I promise you it's not. I'm so into you being excited about this. I'm just Dexter. I just don't know what to say to you. And, it's like I worked on New Blood, right? So I got a piece of working on Dexter. I love Dexter so much. I always have. And I got to direct that music video for Michael C. Hall, a couple
Yeah.
years ago. Yeah. Um, but like even before I worked on the show, like before I got to meet him, work with him, get to know him, and become friendly with him, uh, I've related to him because I'm not a bad communicator. I'm just a good listener, and I don't have a lot to say in return. And so I just feel like a lot of people have talked to me and walked away thinking like, "Wow, that sucked." I'm like, "No, man, I'm so into that conversation. I just didn't know what to tell you back."
Right. Right. No.
You want to
No.
talk about John Carpenter films?
Right.
Yeah, I watched They Live 2 days ago. Let's go.
Actually, speaking of, okay, let's touch back on what you teased earlier about your high school.
Man, I don't know the details yet, so I guess I could be mistaken. But the way that I understand it, I had reached out to the cable access studio because I don't know if every town has this or not. So I can only speak for Foxborough, but Foxborough High School, and I think the middle school too, has a very good media program. They call it the media class. So it's video class.
Yeah.
They just call it media class. They have a great media program, and they have Foxborough Cable Access. And so it's an open cable access studio. They shoot the football games and the proms and I don't know, whatever, everything else that they shoot. But when I was very young and I was very eager to learn the business, I mean, I'm talking seventh grade because I remember walking from the middle school to the high school to learn, to do after school stuff. I've been shooting shorts forever, right? So it was where I learned. It was where I cut my teeth. It was these people were the first people to take a chance on me and say, this kid wants to say something. We'll help him say it. And I look back on the short films that I made in my early 20s when I was still trying to figure things out. We were shooting on mini DV. I didn't know how to light. I didn't know how to properly construct a story or have an arc and those were like the most beautiful days. Those were like the salad days, right? You're the most hungry, but you're also the most inexperienced. I they gave me a chance, and I've always loved them and respected them and held them in high regard for it. So when I did Big Bad Betty, I was like, man, like I couldn't have done this without them. I know that, like I'm positive, I couldn't have done this without them. So I reached out and I was like, hey, to the library, to Boyden Library, said, hey, I was thinking of donating my film to your library, your collection, your media collection, because I can remember watching movies there when I was a kid. And they were like, we would love that so much. Would you want to, you want to come in and do it? And I was like, oh, dude, I'm in Nashville now. And then I was like, no, this is an in-person thing. Because this is like a story coming full circle. Right?
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
same kid that went to media class, the same kid that watched movies at the library. Like now I get to go and I get to take my creative work and I get to put it on the same shelves that I used to pull things from. Right. And so I told Cable Access I was coming to town because I'm literally flying from Nashville to Boston, renting a car, getting a hotel. Very expensive trip.
Right. Right.
But I don't owe anything to anyone, and they don't owe me anything. This is me wanting to remind myself of where it all started, and just kind of further appreciate what they gave to me. So, all that being said, we're going to do an industry screening, I think is what they're calling it. So it's just going to be, I'm sure some young adults, I doubt students because of the content of Betty,
Sure.
and then some adults that are into filmmaking and the process. They're going to come and watch the movie at the Cable Access Studio later in the night. We're doing it March 3rd, but earlier in the day, they're taking me over to the high school so that I can, kind of walk down the halls and check out the media class, see what they're doing. And, I think that they want me to say something to the media students, but I don't know. That's the question mark. And also, like, I wouldn't really know what to say to them because I don't have imposter syndrome. I think I had it for a long time, but I'm also acutely aware that I am as green as they come when it comes to feature filmmaking, and I have a lot to learn. So I don't know that I have anything worth saying to a class other than like what I can tell you is like it's hard, and I can talk to you all about grit and endurance. Okay, I could talk until I'm blue in the face on that because I suffered for my art making
Yeah.
Big Bad Betty. I suffered making Big Bad Betty. So I could talk about that, but I don't want to discourage anyone,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, I don't want to give these like fresh-faced kids the horror stories of my first feature and scare
Well,
them off
that's,
immediately. They're just going to drop the class. Like
yeah, and I don't want that. But what I'll tell them is like, look, if you are passionate enough. Did I just invent a new word, passionate?
patient. It
You have
works.
the patient. If he can stick it out, if he can stick it out, it's gonna work itself out. Now it's gonna work itself out. However, it's gonna work itself out. It's either gonna happen or it's not. But if you're patient, like I never thought that I was gonna get to direct feature until I was like, I'm fucking done waiting. I had, a friend, so I don't want this to be taken out of context, but I had a producer friend who had been waving money in my face for years to make another film that I have written. I'm actually looking at the final draft logo for it on my computer right now. And it needs a little bit of money to shoot. And so because of that, they were like, you need, it started at like 400,000. It was 600,000. They ended up saying I needed 1 million. It just kept climbing and climbing and climbing. I was like, all right, so this isn't the one that I'm going to make first.
Sure.
So I went and I found something that I had written that I could kind of cannibalize it, take the bones from it, turn it into something new. And that was what, Betty became. So like I could talk to these students about endurance and patience and also like being adaptable, right? Like that story right there. Like I wanted to make a feature. I knew the feature I want to make. I can't right now make it. Financially, I can't make it.
Right.
Um, but I was adaptable enough to see, well, I have this other thing and I can do this other thing. Now, granted, I was able to do this other thing because I own all the equipment that I own. But, with that all came with a sacrifice too. And I think at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, understanding and accepting and taking ownership of the sacrifices that you're going to make it work in this business. And it's not just film. Again, I don't do the whole sports ball thing. Go team. But I can tell you that like LeBron James didn't become LeBron James overnight.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, how many shots do you think that he has taken? Wayne Gretzky, because again, this is how far back I go to when I watch sports, is like Wayne Gretzky, Roger Clemens,
Sure.
Drew
Sure.
Bledsoe.
I was gonna say I'm like right there with you. I think the last time I was like really into sports was when the Red Wings won back-to-back Stanley Cups in the mid '90s. So that's you
Yeah.
know.
And it didn't happen overnight. And it didn't happen because they were lucky, right? What's that phrase? It's funny. The harder I work, the luckier I got.
Right.
You
That's
know?
it, right? And there's another one, luck is when, preparation meets opportunity or something like that. But it's very true. I think coming from, and you said something that I think is really good for our listeners who are pretty green in filmmaking themselves, whether they're just starting off or, looking to put together their first project. I don't have a G&E van yet. But I do have a lot of equipment that I've acquired by putting money I've made shooting content for clients back into my business, right? And to have the assets, whether that be lighting, camera gear, whatever, to have that going into shooting a project, like it's funding yourself, and then you have access to all of this stuff when you need it, as
Mhm.
opposed to trying to grab budget to rent every time you want to shoot something, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's the budget to rent. It's making sure that the things you need are available to rent when you need to rent them.
right.
It's transport to go pick up the rentals, transport to go drop off the rentals. Now you might have to bring a new person into the mix. If you need rentals that you don't have a vehicle to transport, now you have to rent another vehicle, and now it's a whole thing. It's a whole
Yeah.
thing. And so I found like, yeah, I started accumulating a good amount of gear because I never wanted to be a gear guy. I didn't. Um, and of course I use it for work. I mean,
Right.
but as far as like what came first, the chicken or the egg, for me with gear, I don't know if it was that I got the gear to support work, but also support movies, or if I got the gear to support movies, now I also use it for work.
Right. Right.
You know,
But I think as someone, who does, gig work professionally, that's it doesn't matter which came first at this point. The point is that you have access to all of it, right?
Yeah,
Because I think it
yeah,
probably goes a little bit of both. It's for me, at least, it's been on a project by project basis. Like there have been client gigs where I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to take this, I need to buy this, but then I can turn around and use that on any of the short films I've done. It's an accumulation over time, especially, if you're making a living off of doing video work.
yep, yep.
So, no, I think that's awesome, man, and congratulations on. I know we got away from it a little bit, but congratulations on everything with the full circle and going to present the film to the,
Yeah.
that's such a fun story, like to be able to go back to your high school because I I too had a media arts program in high school that you couldn't start until sophomore year, but I lived in the media arts room. But I mean, we were on mini DVs, fire wiring into, and like luckily we had a teacher because,
Firewire.
dude,
New memory
yeah.
unlocked. Yeah, new memory unlocked. Yeah. Old memory unlocked. Yeah.
Right, exactly. But fire wiring into, and I think we had a great teacher who had some money, and her and her husband like donated a lot of the equipment we had. Like they bought it for our program because the
Cool.
school wasn't funding it. Like, but I mean, it was old like Final Cut Pro,
Mhm.
which was standard back then. So, standard in 2006 was like Final Cut Pro for editing. So we had that, and I got to work in high school and cut my teeth on some like industry level programs and gear that got me further when I left high school than I would have been normally prepared for, which is great.
So carpentry it's a skill, right? It's a trade.
Right.
Okay. Construction in general, right? And architecture, yada yada yada. And these are all things that you can learn in shop class, right? Because shop class, I think, is designed to help students that need a trade learn a trade. Like
Yeah.
it's career preparation, right? If that makes any sense. And I'm not knocking people that do that. I wish that I could build houses. I really do.
Same.
But I feel like media arts is the same thing. I feel like it's career prep work, right? And I wish that the arts in general in schools weren't viewed as electives and weren't viewed as like the easy class, right? Because you need more credits or however schools work at this point.
Right. Right.
No, like this is something that people may want to do. Like I remember back then telling Mrs. Pedroli, Mrs. Nash, and Mr. Roy that I wanted to work in film, and all three probably thought I was a crazy person, you know. And now that I work in film, for 11 years now, they weren't wrong. You have to, I probably should have been a doctor, but no, seriously, I think that the arts should be viewed as it's we're preparing you for something that you could do as a trade, as a craft. It's trade school.
No, I mean,
And
and that's very well said. I think as you've experienced and as someone like myself has experienced, it's a little harder of a road to pursue if you don't have the leads or the connections, right off the bat, but you can carve your own niche in this landscape, especially now. I mean, now more than ever, clients are looking for video content, and I don't think there have been enough videographers who are well trained and prepared to take on the the load of work that's out there.
so I think there are a lot of people that are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. I think that there are people who don't have the experience levels that they need to take certain jobs that they've been taking, and those jobs I've witnessed it, those jobs have suffered because of it, or the DP has found themselves being buried on set. They don't have answers to the many questions that are coming, and as rapid fire as they're coming, especially if you have both client and uh, you know production breathing down your neck. And then the experienced gaffer steps up, or the experienced key grip steps up, or the cam op who typically DPs but took this as a cam gig because he just wanted to make some extra money. Then and now we're like they're supporting you, right? And I've had plenty of people support me over the years, and I'm so grateful for them. But I've never taken a job that I've never bitten off more than I could chew, and I would knock on wood, but I'm not going to because that was by design. I had the opportunity to key grip a Bruce Willis movie. I wanted it so bad, especially now, I guess, looking back, right? I really wish that I had a chance to work with him. But I wasn't ready. And I was going to bury myself. And the job of the key grip, I mean, for people that don't work in the business, like obviously set lighting and modification of lighting, but you're one of the advocates on set for set safety. Okay. Especially when it comes to rigging, whether it's a camera or it's rigging lighting or points or whatever it might be. Safety is a huge part of being a key grip, as well as being able to take command and kind of handle crisis situations as they come up, because grips are the backbone of the business and they support every department. So I would have taken that job. I would have, of course, I don't know this, but I would have gotten myself deep. I would have hurt somebody. I would have been, it could have gone so
Yeah.
bad. And I knew that. And I said, not right now. It's not my time. It's not my time. Well, actually, when I was working, okay, so example, when I was working on New Blood, Dexter New Blood, one of the crew members who knew that I did a bunch of music videos and a bunch of the horror stuff, they were like, what if they asked you to direct an episode? What would you say? I was like, I would say no. And they were shocked to hear that. I was like, of course I would say no. I can't fucking direct an episode of Dexter. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm still figuring out which way is up in this business. So that was what, 2022? Maybe?
Right.
I would direct an episode now.
Yeah.
But I would depend on the people that were around me to support me. I don't think that I would be biting off something more than I could chew, right? I just know that I would need support. I could not be the smartest man in the room.
100%. 100%. And I think having that self-awareness is so important because, yeah, okay, say you're green, you're just starting out in your career, you find a connection who offers you a job 3 steps up from anything you've ever done. Sure, you can take that job, but if you fuck it up, you got an angry client. You're gonna kill some leads you might have gotten if you were like, hey, I gotta pass on this one. Like,
Yeah.
I think this is above. Like, recognizing where you are in your career, right, as an artist is very important. And I think that's a skill you can't teach. That's something you gotta internalize and really ask yourself, like, hey, it it may seem like I'm being handed exactly what I want, but am I there as an artist yet? Or am I there, And I think
Timing is everything.
it is. It is 100%, man. 100%. No,
I think
that's
being self-aware is critical, in this business. I can remember just one quick story, and then we'll move on. But it's also, it's not just being self-aware; it's taking ownership when you fuck up and letting people know that you're taking ownership because you fucked up. I was working on Salem's Lot, the reboot for Salem's Lot. And I
yeah.
don't know if you saw it, but that's not the movie we shot. The movie they
Oh,
released, oh, that's not the movie we shot. We shot a bloodbath. It was awesome.
what the hell
That's
happened?
another that's another story for another time. But
Okay.
that is not the movie we shot. It was as watered down as they come. I'm
Oh,
grateful to have worked on it, and I worked on all the reshoots too, 2.5 weeks of reshoots. Uh, but anyway, I was pushing dolly, and we were doing something. People use the phrase two-headed dragon in a number of different ways. Sometimes it means you've got 2 cameras on one slider. Sometimes you've got 2 dollies on the same track. So we were doing dollies, right? So we had a double-headed dragon. I was B cam, dolly grip on that. Our A cam, his dolly had an operator and a camera. My dolly had an operator and a jib. So he was doing a jib move while we were, pushing dolly, and we're chasing each other. It was the scene. I don't know if you saw the film when you did.
yeah.
It was the Wes Anderson tracking flat shot center frame where the guy was a silhouette chasing the kids through the woods. He's creeping
Yep.
up on them. So I'm pushing and I'm into the shot. I'm staring at my monitor. And when I push dolly, I typically don't look at my monitor because I'll get distracted. I just try to watch the scene and feel it, I guess, right? So unless I'm like booming to like a precise, spot, then of course I'm locked on my monitor. But for a moving shot, no, I'm just watching it happen. Well, I got a little too into the shot, and I was supposed to stop like here, and I stopped 18 feet later. And I see the A cam operator. He had to run for his shot, and he's coming. And I'm like, so now I have to run backwards. Everyone's so we almost collide. They call cut because of me. Now, when you're on a what $150 million budget film, and they call cut because of you, fuck, right?
Yeah, that can't be a good
So
feeling.
I took my comms. I'll never do that again. Brought him up, and I waited to be fired. I definitely waited to be replaced. I was positive that was coming. And the DP, Michael Burgess, it's Don Burgess's son. He's the DP from Forrest Gump, and the ACAM op who was on the wheels for the jib, BJ McDonald, both came on and just said, "All right, fuck it, let's go again." And I didn't get fired. I didn't lose my job, but I learned a valuable lesson. It really was to, like, take ownership. If you fuck up, own it, learn from it, man. Like that was the thing. I learned a lot from the mistakes that I've made over the years in life and in the business. But like something like that, it really put into perspective. Like I have the technical ability to do this job. I also just got so into a shop that I could have derailed. I mean, what would have happened if these things collided? Right? Cameras are getting smashed. So starting without the human safety element, we're breaking equipment.
Right.
Now we've got a jib. That jib is going over. The operator, he's going over. People are getting hurt.
Yeah.
Why? Because I was, and so that was like it was a good wake up call for me to remember. Like you need to get your shit together, pay attention, start over. Right. That was what I did as a director when I did this with Big Bad Betty. I was like, cool. Like I've been in the business for 11 years, which is in the big picture. I've been in the business for a cup of coffee. Right. I mean,
Right.
I've worked on a ton of sets, but that doesn't mean that I know shit. And
Sure.
I like I like that because like let's like of course I know things, but I don't know all the things. And so I'm forever studying and listening and trying to learn all the things. And so as a feature filmmaker, I was like, cool, I'm brand new again. I'm green again. You know enough to be a little dangerous. You know enough to do the job. But like I hope Big Bad Betty's not my finest work. You
Right.
know? It's not a
Right.
bad movie, but it's a silly fucking movie. So but I'm not knocking it. It's a good movie, but I hope that in 25 years I've made a couple more films. I look back and I was like, man, that was a fun one, but I learned a lot.
Yeah, man. No, that's awesome. And that's a wonderful way to look at it. Like, yeah, absolutely. Whatever project you're working on should be your best work yet. But looking
Yeah,
back, yeah. No, no, no. And I think that was a really great story to illustrate like the importance of being a little self-critical, being self-aware, not just in the space, but people are always going to respect you more if you own your shit, right?
yeah, 100%.
So I think that's great, man. So let's talk about your films. Let's start though, before we get to Big Bad Betty, which I'm very excited to talk about. We met in 2022. You were screening Black Vulture, which can you explain to our audience a little bit, just a brief synopsis of that one?
Essentially, there's a traditional ritual hunt to try to appease a witch god that watches from above, as they say in the film. And essentially, it's a human hunt film. It's a film about survival and man hunting man, but to appease a god that they have no evidence exists.
What I like about, because between that and we'll talk about Sanguinary. Sanguinary? Am I saying that right? Cool.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll talk about Sanguinary next, but what I like about both of these films is A, they're beautifully shot. Beautiful films. You can tell the like detail that was put into planning and like framing each of the shots. The play with shadows, especially in Black Vulture, it's wonderful. It looks very high level professional.
thank you.
Yeah, of course, of course. But what I like about both of them as well is they're both really great. They stand alone, but they're really great proof of concept films.
Yeah, 100%. And that's not what the approach was, but it certainly wasn't something that I hadn't been thinking, while we made it. And I've heard that, a number of times. I've heard people describe it as like it felt like I was watching a chapter from a film. They call it a chapter, right? It felt like I was watching a piece of movie or a chapter of a movie. Like I was expecting more, but not in a bad way, right?
Right.
They were just expecting more time. And I've played with the idea of going back and creating worlds. I'm 100% that I know what I would do with Sanguinary, 100%, and it would feel very American Werewolf in London.
Okay.
Very American Werewolf in London in Vermont is essentially the idea. So I know for sure what I would do with that. Black Vulture, I had started writing feature versions of it, and like would I focus on like before when they're recruiting the people that are here to do the hunt? Do I focus on what happens after the hunt? And then what I ended up doing, because I storyboard everything, Black Vulture 1624.
Oh man.
And so Black Vulture 1624 was essentially like this is an overhead bird's eye of a body being carried by 6 people. The idea was it focuses on the witch, right? um, Dying crops, like TP's body, people being hung. Like it was a whole thing, and that was on 6/1/21.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I had been. This one was on 5/25/21 because I date this shit. I can go all the way back to that was my whiskey spot 5/25. I storyboard everything. I'm meticulous for it because I think in pictures and I can't describe them oftentimes, right? So I just draw them out. That being said, the angle I was going to go with Black Vulture was that it was the origin of the witch and the massacre of the witch because the witch is essentially killed, right? And her spirit remains. So, well, now you're talking about a period piece, a real period piece. You're talking about a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
And I don't have it.
No, that's fair.
Especially now after self-funding Big Bad Betty, I don't have a lot of money at all.
Let's just get into Big Bad Betty because I'm
Okay.
really excited to talk about it. So it is your first feature, right? You self-funded it,
Yeah.
and I'm really interested because we're gonna try and time the release of this episode with the release of Big Bad Betty, and you're doing a physical only release.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to us. Let's talk first about making the film. Give us a brief synopsis and then talk about that process and how you came to make the decision of this is the one I want to do. Self-funding this, was that a choice or was that just give us a little bit of insight into that?
I'm going to be very brief with all of these points only because I can go so far off the rails.
Fair.
You'll have to keep me wrangled in.
Sure.
Synopsis. Girl inherits grandfather's horse ranch. Girl brings friends to horse ranch to renovate it and restore it. They are not alone. There's something that is there with them. All hell breaks loose.
Okay.
And I never had to come up with an elevator pitch or anything for it because the plan was never to try to get distribution. There was a streaming deal and plans changed, and when the plans changed, I made the decision to go physical media exclusive, Blu-ray and VHS.
There's probably a pretty decent like Venn diagram of horror lovers, like horror fans and physical media fans. So, that Venn diagram is almost just a circle, I'm pretty sure. But so a VHS release, how hard was that to do?
Not necessarily hard, but expensive.
Sure.
It was expensive. That was the thing. Making this movie, it did. I wasn't joking. Like this movie cleaned me out. Like
It's expensive to make movies. It's expensive to pay people.
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people weren't even paid. People weren't even paid. It was the cost of production. It was the cost of locations. It was the cost of feeding people. It was wardrobe. Not the film wasn't shot in sequence, right? So wardrobe, I had to have multiple. One of the characters, Marco, I had to have 4 different outfits for him, head to toe. I actually think I had to do that for a couple of the characters. Prop baseball bat. The baseball bat's a big player in this movie. It's right behind me. I had to have 5 different versions of it. I think 5 different versions of it, because it's a bat, then it's a bat that has nails in it. Then, of course, I had to have a fake bat that had nails in it. Then I had to have a foam bat that she could use before it got the nails in it. And so all these things are like $40 a pop.
Sure.
Then the bat that has the nails in it is like 180. And you got to pay like 40 to ship it because it's a weird size. And so it's like it was like $500 for a bat. By the time all that was said and done, right? The one bat, because it's in the movie, it's just one bat, right? It's like $500 for the fucking bat. And it's everything, with everything being as expensive as it is right now. In general, everything's just expensive. It just made the film more expensive. And then tied onto that, piggybacking off of that, was the money I lost saying no to work to make the movie.
Right.
So, but circling back to the VHS part, I want the film to be as professional and as much of an event, and I can explain what I mean, as possible. And so I'm not burning, or I guess, yeah, you just call it burning. I'm not burning the VHSs myself, right? I hired a guy to do it. It is 15 plus tax. It's either 14 plus tax or 15 plus tax per VHS. And then I'm paying an extra $2 per. $1 goes towards shrink wrap. So he's shrink wrapping them. And then $1 goes towards the kind of like, it's malleable, but it's like a hard plastic sleeve protector.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember those.
Yep.
So you get a professional VHS in a professional sleeve, shrink wrapped, and then put into a plastic case. Then if I ship it to you, it's going into, it depends on which way you buy it, because I'm going to have different options. You can buy the disc or the VHS. You can buy, like, it's Betty's Black Box is what I'm going to call it. It's got like some extras in it, and then I've got a collector's box. It's got a whole thing. But like, in the very least, you're getting a bunch of black and red paper shreds. You're getting some type of a Betty custom mailer. You're getting some stickers. It's a whole. I want it to be an experience, right?
Yeah.
Because money is hard to come by for everybody today, and if a fan or a genre lover is willing to take a chance on a filmmaker they've never heard of and watch a movie that they really haven't heard anything about, because I don't have a marketing budget, there are no commercials, right? It's not. I owe it to them to give them everything that I possibly can to make it worth their time and their money. And I want them to get it, and I want them to know that I'm grateful for them, right? I'm grateful for their support. I'm grateful that they took time out of their day they didn't want to take to watch a movie they didn't want to watch, right? To pay money they didn't want to spend to watch it. And so everything that I'm doing is a first class presentation with the release. So the same goes with the Blu-rays, right? I have to sell them for $30 because I'm getting them for 14 a piece. But again, I'm paying extra for the bubble wrap or for the shrink wrap, right? Everything adds up. Everything adds up. And it's like, I spent all the money that I had making the movie. And some people might think like, oh wow, this movie must have a budget. No, man, I was poor from the start. Like, I cashed out of my Fidelity account. I remember that day. Actually, I remember trading all of my. I sold whatever I had in there. I didn't have a lot, but I sold whatever I had in there for stock, so that I could do a cash transfer into my bank account, so that I could feed the cast and the crew. So it was, it was hard. It was hard. There's no skirting around that. But I'm not going to let money, and I'm going to preface this by saying I do not recommend this. Okay? I'm not going to let money stop me from, or a lack of money stop me from giving people what I think they deserve. So now I'm just doing things. It's like credit card money. It's fun money. It's scary. It's scary. Kevin Smith financed Clerks on a credit card, right?
Right.
Forever and a day ago. But I'm just like, no, like, I can't. When I ran out of money and it was time to, like, okay, now I need to introduce this film to the world. Okay, I guess I'm borrowing money. I guess it's credit card, right? Because I'm self-distributing the film, and I'm a firm believer in the need for importance for physical media. I'm not going to go on until I'm blue in the face about that, because I know I'm preaching to the choir.
Right.
Right. but I believe that physical media is important. And I am not anti streaming. Um, I'll watch streaming, you know, I'll put shorts on streaming. Um, but I don't want my feature work. What I'll say is this: I've always been afraid that, like, in 5 years, this podcast is going to come up and a fan is going to be like, hey, remember that time you said you were only going to do physical media? No. Here's my plan. For at least the first year, I want Big Bad Betty to be a physical media exclusive. And I want to do that, rinse and repeat for every feature I make if I have the opportunity to make other features. God, I hope I do. But I would love to just never stream them at all. Just keep them in print and just keep them going. That's the thing is, like, I have 200 Blu-rays and 40 VHSs in the garage, 20 feet away, ready to go, right? Okay, cost me a ton to get them. It's going to cost me a ton to ship them. That's the other thing. Shipping is insane right now.
Yeah.
Insane right now. USPS for a priority bubble mailer is $11.80 to send a DVD.
That's
Isn't
insane.
that crazy?
Yeah,
Isn't that
that's crazy.
So, now it's like, well, I'm not going to charge that to the person that buys it. So instead of charging 30 plus 12 for shipping, I'm charging 35 and I'm losing 7 off of the and that 7, people might say, well, you only paid 15 for the thing, right? So you're still making $15 off it. No, man. Like, I need to pay off this credit card and I need to put money away to try to make another movie. That's why we make movies. We make them to express ourselves, to get what we have in here out. But also, you need money to play the game. And so USPS, FedEx, they're not helping me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm hoping I have a good reaction or a good response at the cons, because that was the other thing, booking the conventions. They all cost a lot of money.
I actually, speaking of, I saw that you're coming to one in Michigan.
I am.
You are at the Michigan is Dead tape swap in HorrorCon in Muskegon, because it's like 3 hours away from Detroit. It's a hike, but we were thinking about heading up there, so I might see you up there in March.
No, it'd be awesome if you did. I'm making the trip. I hate it. I'm making it by myself, man. I'm driving from Nashville because I got to bring all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be just like 10 and a half, 11 hours in a car by myself, because, well, I can't blame the cast. And like the cast and the crew were so generous with their time to help me make this movie. And I want, like, here's what I hope. I hope that every time that I ask anyone that helped make this movie, cast or crew, because to me it was just one. You know how they say, like, oh, we're a family. No, man, we're a fucking family. So anytime that I ask someone from the family to come out to a con, I hope that they don't hear, oh, Justin wants more of my time. I hope that they hear, Justin wants to take me and put me on display in front of a bunch of people so he can sing as loud as he can how much he loves me. Because these people, like, they gave so much to making a movie that they didn't have to make. And they believed in me, and I believed in them. And it's like, now all I want to do is I want to strap a rocket to their back and I want to just, let's see what we can do. How many doors can I just want to open doors for them. You know what I mean? So it's like, Michigan is Dead. That's going to be a pretty good con. It's not going to be huge, but the people that go there are the ones that are looking for our product, horror, physical. Okay.
Yeah.
I want talent to be in front of them, because I want them to say, like, oh, what else have you been in? Or like, my buddy's making a movie right now. He doesn't have a lot of money. Oh, it's like 200 grand. Right.
Right.
And they won't get the opportunity if they're not there. But at the same time, I can't blame them for not wanting to eat 3 days. Even though it's like, for you, 3 hours away, it's a one day, right? You wake up early, you drive 3 hours, you go to the thing, you drive home, right?
Exactly.
For me, I need to drive up on Friday. I need to either load in Friday night. I don't think that's the case. I think it's an early load in Saturday morning. Then we have the con all Saturday. Then I have to wrap out of the con. And then I have to drive home, 10 and a half, 11 hours on Sunday, right? And so take that formula and rinse and repeat. Atlanta, Louisville, St. Louis, Tallahassee, Florida, Huntsville, Alabama. Now, some of them are close, right? Huntsville's 2 hours away.
Right.
But it's funny, as a filmmaker, 2 hours becomes close, right? You're like, oh,
yeah. It's only 2 hours.
It's only 2 hours. And so I want to get the people that help make this movie out in front of as many people as possible and just publicly thank them and say, like, these people, they believed in me, please believe in them with me, right? Um, and I hope that this movie opens doors for people. I hope that this movie, and it's not just a movie, it's anything that I do creatively. I hope that I'm just able to open a door for somebody else to do cool shit,
Dude, yeah. Yeah, I think
right?
that's wonderful. Yeah.
Like, think about that. Like, imagine, because like I'm well aware that I'm not going to become like a big name in horror. It's just what it is, and I accept that. But could you imagine if like Ray Bruce is a wrestler in this movie, and he has given as much as he can to supporting this film, right? I use him as an example because I could see him making it.
Yeah.
I could see him making it. I see a star. And I'm like, imagine if he became like the next big thing. And I knew him like, way back when. Right. Like I helped him like this little indie thing and like look at him now. And like I have a buddy that wrestles for the WWE. And we came up together, we went to wrestling academy together. And now he's TNA Intercontinental, whatever version of the Intercontinental champion is. I think it's called the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
And it's like I love watching these people succeed, and it's like I can remember him and I going at it in the ring, and I can remember we trained each other up, and it's like I was a part of that origin story, and I love that, and I appreciate that, because I thrive on watching people succeed, right? How fucking cool is it to see someone that doing this thing that's bigger than them, right? That's bigger than any of us, and like that's film to me, right? It's
Right.
like it's this thing, it's eternal, right? It's I remember I did this movie for Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit called The Education of Charlie Banks back in like 2006. I was a featured extra, but they mic'd me up. I had a physical altercation with Jason Ritter on camera. Um, and they ended up, of course, cutting the shit out of it in post, and the story of my life, of everyone's life in the film
Sure.
business. Um, but like he said to me when I wrapped, he was like, "Congratulations, man, you're gonna live forever." And I was like, "You're right." I mean, like maybe all these things get burned up, maybe they all get lost. I don't know, but the sentiment was there, and it was true. And so it's like the people that were a part of Big Bad Betty, like they're gonna live forever. How cool is that? How cool is it for me to have been able to help facilitate this thing that like years later, because like I don't want to like I mean, we're not going to shift gears here, but like, let's think about like, okay, no one stays young forever, right?
Sure.
Oh, these people do. All they have to do is watch Big Bad Betty.
Yeah.
That's it. How cool is that? We're all going to make it. Like I'm approaching what I call my Jack Nicholson phase in life, where I feel like I'm just going to start fucking falling up. Like I'm going to try to like seem cool, but like I'm a mess. And I'm wearing gym pants all the time. I'm like wearing gym shorts, gym pants, and a fucking sweater. Like I it's coming soon. And so, but like for the actors in this film, for the people that are on camera, they can be 95 years old and they can look back and they can see who they were. Their kids can watch them. They can see who they were, who they still are, but like they can see like what they looked like way back when. It's like going through your grandparents' boxes and seeing pictures of them when they got married, right? Oh my God,
Right.
look, they were so young. And you can listen to them. You can watch Ray Bruce fight a monster.
Right.
That's
Right.
sick. It's sick. I love it. And so I'm just grateful that I had the opportunity to do that, with these people and help kind of bring this thing to life. And I just hope I get to do it again and
You
again.
know, not to speak for your cast and crew, but just listening to you talk about this process of making a feature and your just overwhelming gratitude, not only to those who helped you make it, but to like the potential audience already of like, I want to make something worthy of you watching. I want to make something worthy of all of this talent behind me. And I want to present it in a way that does justice to the art we're creating together. And I'm sure that sentiment is reciprocated by your casting crew because even just talking to you for a short time right now, just the gratitude you express, I'm sure has to be reciprocated, right? And I sincerely cannot wait to see, because as soon as we get off this, I'm going to be emailing you about ordering my copies. But no,
I
man,
appreciate that.
I just it's so nice to hear the just the overwhelming gratitude you have for the family of this film, right? And beyond that, the people who are going to be enjoying this film. Um, yeah, man, no, it's just makes you feel warm inside, right? And I'm I'm really excited to see it, and I'm really excited to see what you do next, because I'm sure, I don't think, especially in like the indie horror space, directors come along and I think it goes back to the conversation we were having earlier about people biting off more than they can chew, or more than they're ready for at the time, where they don't understand how to handle a set. But I think you're at a point where you understand like what it means, like at the core of it, to create art together, because film's a collaborative art form, right? And the gratitude you express just shows how much you understand that.
It was a skeleton crew, and so what I had to do was like I gave myself pre-calls, right? So uh, again, I don't know if I'd average them out. I guess I would say 4 hour pre-calls every day. Sometimes it was two. Once it was seven. I had a 7 hour pre-call. So that was a hard one because I got there at like 10:30 in the morning for a 6 p.m. call. And uh, I remember that night I was holding the camera and I was like, fuck, I think I'm gonna throw up. Like I worked, I was so hot and tired from the sun. And uh, so I gave the camera to somebody and I walked behind the shed and I just fucking puked everywhere.
Oh,
No one knew, right?
yeah,
And I just wiped it off and went back with like the chalk smelling mouth. And I was like,
right,
cool, here we
right.
go. Yeah, give me the camera back. And we went again, and I was just hoping nobody could smell my breath. But like I worked to the point where I vomited, right? And that's what I was saying earlier. Like I suffered to make this movie,
Yeah, man.
and I would do it again 100 times, 100 times because I made a feature film.
Yeah, you did. You did it, man. That's it.
Well, the kid in me that never thought that he was going to be able to make one, cool. Like I mean, I made one. I just made this little kid proud.
Good. Dude, that's awesome. That's
You
awesome.
know?
Real quick,
Yeah.
if you got one piece of advice for someone looking to make a feature, what would your like one big piece of advice be?
Be resourceful and adaptable. And what I mean by that is don't write a script that takes place on top of a skyscraper. If you have access to a restaurant, write it in a restaurant. If you have access to a sports car, write it into a sports car, right? And be adaptable. If the location you wanted to shoot at falls through, what's plan B? Have a plan B.
Right. Right. No, I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
So, Justin, where can people find you? Where can they contact you to purchase Big Bad Betty?
RustedLanternPictures.com has a link, so you just email me directly. Justin Makes Movies on Instagram, Big Bad Betty Film on Instagram. Conventions, I don't know at the time that we're recording this podcast, my upcoming conventions are Atlanta's Day of the Dead, Static Tapes Michigan is Dead, St. Louis Comic Con, Horror Con, Louisville Horror Con, Full Moon Horror Con here in Nashville in April. And yeah, or if you see me on the street, you could just stop me and say, "Hey, man,"
There you go. Well,
and I'll be like, "Here you go."
here you go. Got it right here.
Well, yeah.
Um, what we'll do is we'll link the Rusted Lantern Pictures site in your Instagram in the show notes. But Justin, man, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me.
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry if I went off the rails one too many times, but
Not at all,
now
man.
I
I think we
now,
had a great.
now I have to go back to not talking about horror.
Right,
So
right. No, man, I think it was a great conversation. I'm very grateful.
yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me on.
Of course, man. And
Best of luck on everything, and I can't wait to see what you're doing next.
Thanks, man.
All right.
And thank you for tuning in. I can't urge you enough to order your own copy of Big Bad Betty. As you can see here, I got the Blu-ray and the VHS. You can purchase them directly from Justin through rustedlanternpictures.com. Link is in the show notes. And if you're interested in seeing all of the goodies that came in the mail with these, we have posted an unboxing Big Bad Betty video on our YouTube. Make sure to follow Justin at Justin Makes Movies on Instagram and YouTube. And please make sure to subscribe to Midnight Horror Picture Show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. If you would be so kind as to leave a 5-star review, it's the best way to help build up this platform for indie horror creators to be seen. You can find us on Instagram at Midnight Horror Picture Show. Our theme music is by Nick Ferreri. And check out our sister show, Dead Pine Archives, where we dive deep into urban legends, cryptid tales, and local lore. Midnight Horror Picture Show will be back in March with a new episode. Until then, stay spooky and keep supporting indie horror.